I fell in love completely with the whole instant gratification of 15,000 people screaming for something that you're doing, and just fell in love with it and didn't look back after that. My name is Ken Pooch Van Druten. I am the front of house engineer for Linkin Park. I did a bunch of time with Kiss. I worked with System of a Down, Kid Rock. Mainly my genre happens to be in the rock area these days. So Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, that kind of thing. Linkin Park really wants their live experience to be as close to the record as possible. People buy the record and love the band because of the record. So people want to come to the live show, they want to experience the record, they want to feel some movement of sound. And so the band is pretty, pretty adamant about that kind of stuff. We record not only the multi-track of everything, but we also record a left and a right along with some audience mics to give to the band and to give anybody else a fast, here's what the show was from last night. And I used the Max BCL to kind of crunch that and make it into a record-y sounding thing. In fact, I joke with my systems engineer that the Max BCL is my gig keeper. Start with the mix bus, because that's the most important. The final output stage of my mix bus is L2. Right before that is a C6. Previously was a C4, but now with the C6 being out, it's really an opportunity. If you're in a place where there's some problem frequencies happening in a room, you can take those two extra bands and kind of narrow them up and find some good things on the overall mix that you have going on. Vocals are the same for both guys, and it starts in the first process with the Renaissance channel. And the reason I like the Renaissance channel is because it starts with a really nice EQ, but it's also got just kind of an overall leveling compressor that I like. So that's the first plugin. Second plugin, I just recently started using max volume. I've got guys that literally go from basically not singing, barely whispering, to full-on screaming in a microphone. And so I need something that can keep that all in check. Along with it, I actually use the gate feature on a vocal, which is interesting. A lot of people don't use that. The gate feature is, if you play around with it enough and get it to a point where it will eliminate any kind of extraneous sound, even cymbals. But when you get up on the microphone, it opens, and it's a nice sounding gate when it opens. So I don't know if anybody else is using it on vocals, but I like it. Then de-esser, pretty standard to kind of get rid of all that 8K stuff that's happening in the vocals. And finally a C6. Same reason that I use a C6 on the main mix bus. You can really zero in on some frequencies and get it going. Renaissance Axe, my favorite. It's my favorite compressor for guitars, basses, that kind of stuff. I actually love it on drums too. If you look at my kick channel, Renaissance Axe. One of the stories that I have specifically about this record run is the band has a song called The Catalyst. It is a very affected vocal, and when I heard it off of the record for the first time, I was like, oh, that's going to be hard for me to kind of go recreate. I'll have to go look at some flanging and some, I'll have to go dig up something and make it happen. So my first call was to the producer and recording engineer that did the record. I said, well, so what did you use on that? He said, oh, we used the Waves Metaflanger. And I said, that's all that's on the vocal? He said, yeah, it's the Waves Metaflanger, that's it. And I said, oh, fantastic. I said, I have the Waves Metaflanger. Can you send me the preset? And so he emailed me the preset of what they used on the record. Seconds later, I had the vocal sound. Didn't have to go digging for flangers and choruses and all kinds of stuff. And so that truly is the benefit, and I think where the lines of recording engineering and live sound are becoming blurred is that the communication between the guys that are making the record and the guys that are doing the live. We're all using the same stuff. My goal is to provide the audience with a pleasurable listening experience of what they're providing me. There's some art form to it, and it's what I fell in love with front of house about. It's technical combined with artistry is really what it is. And the ultimate thing in all of this is for all of us to use our ears.